Panama Canal was a global center of trade that attracted a number of political powers, but ultimately became a valuable asset of the United States through imperialism. Prior to the construction of the canal, traveling from the Atlantic to the Pacific meant traveling by ship across Cape Horn and took around a third of the time longer to reach the Pacific. Traveling through Cape Horn was a perilous journey fraught with danger because of the extreme low pressure systems that resulted in unpredictable gusts of wind. Even with the technology of the 19th century, casualties could not be completely prevented when traveling through the waters of Cape Horn. Thus, the Panama Canal maximized profits while decreasing the risks of traveling via maritime travel. U.S. President Ulysses S. Grant sent a total of 7 expeditions to explore the area of Panama and prepared for the construction of the canal between 1870 and 1875. Congress was also divided on which canal to finance, the canal built along the Panamanian route or the Nicaraguan route. The project of the construction of the canal was initially a French project led by a construction from under diplomat Ferdinand de Lesseps in the 1880s. He was also known for his construction of the Suez Canal of Egypt. Unfortunately, malaria, yellow fever, and a number of other diseases prevented Ferdinand's campaign from coming to fruition, killing over 20,000 workers and leaving Ferdinand bankrupt. In 1900, France signed a series of treaties that lifted its objections to the U.S. constructing a canal in preparation of a French war against German forces. On May 2, 1902, Mount Pelée erupted in Martinique, killing over 30,000 islanders, followed by another eruption, this time which occurred 100 miles from the designated area of the canal in Nicaragua. This convinced the U.S. to construct the canal in Panama instead of Nicaragua. Once the project under the French became bankrupt, the U.S. planned to take over the construction of the canal in 1902, following President Theodore Roosevelt's order to send U.S. warships to Panama City in order to assist Panama in gaining independence in 1903. A French engineer named Philippe Bunana-Varilla, formerly involved in the de Lesseps project, negotiated the Hay-Bunau-Varilla Treaty, establishing the construction zone of the Panama Canal by granting the U.S. a 10-mile strip of land. This strip of land would become the land on which the Panama Canal would be built. Work on the Panama Canal began in 1904, with tens of thousands of laborers from Barbados, Martinique, and Guadeloupe working on the project. The canal was completed in 1914, stretching from the Caribbean to the Pacific Ocean. The U.S. spent over $302 million on the construction of the Panama Canal, which translates to roughly $4.4 billion based on the inflation of 2004. In 1935, the addition of the Madden Dam to the canal effectively bolstered global trade in the 20th century. In 1977, a treaty signed between U.S. President Jimmy Carter and Panama leader Omar Torrijos transferred authority over the canal from the hands of the U.S. to Panama, effectively taking place on December 31, 1999. In the 85 years the canal was under the control of the U.S., the Panama Canal served not just as a valuable economic asset, but also a symbol of U.S. imperialism. U.S. control over a prominent global trade route increased the nation's prestige and gave the nation the upper hand in negotiations regarding the use of said trade routes. The reason Panama Canal was among the most important routes controlled by the U.S. was because it facilitated trade that brought a considerable amount of the nation's income and set the precedent for future foreign policy diplomacy. Today, even though the Panama Canal is no longer under U.S. control, it serves as a symbol of U.S. influence on the global economy and international prestige.